Arrested self-protection stifles our healthy anger. Pete Walker, Complex PTSD. And this quote from Alice Miller is also in his book. Expressing rage and anger would have led to loss of mother's love, and that, for a child, is the same as death. This really gets at our idea and knowing that is much more common now than it was when Alice Miller wrote that. That children will protect their relationship with their parents by stifling anger at injustice and by turning against themselves, forming core deficiency beliefs of I was responsible for what happened as a child, and if it didn't go well, it was because I was bad. This is something we know now, and that's very helpful to us in our healing. In Pete's wonderful book, The Tao of Fully Feeling, he talks about our experiences with anger and how that stifling of the anger has caused us to suppress it. We've never really been allowed to feel and express it safely. There's two parts of this. One is to feel it safely, and the other is to express it safely. And the truth about what happened in our childhood is that it was not our fault. We didn't cause it. We couldn't stop it. We were not the adults. And that's not to say that we have to shame our parents. Often we have a deep understanding of intergenerational trauma and perhaps compassion for what they weren't able to see at the time, what they didn't know, what they weren't able to do. Having said that, we need to set that aside. Allow ourselves to get angry and mad about past hurt and intimidations. Some of us have had experiences more on the neglect side. Some of us have had experiences more on the abuse side. Some people have very difficult childhoods of terror, never knowing if they were going to be safe. Violence, addiction. Sometimes there was physical harm, sexual harm. Sometimes there was scorn and contempt. Sometimes there was all of those together. Whether we had that family where we were emotionally cold, we weren't allowed to feel our feelings, we were told we were too sensitive, stop crying or I'll give you something to bellyache about. Whether that was our experience or whether we just never dared because it was too dangerous. All of us need to work with what can we do now? If we have arrested self-protection, how can we overcome that developmental delay or that developmental arrest and come into a position now as an adult where our nervous system knows that we're no longer helpless children. We're actually powerful adults, and we are quite capable of protecting ourselves. We have to go back in and see what it is in our nervous system that still believes that it's not safe, and then we can move from there. Another poignant part of Pete's story is that he felt loved by his grandmother who lived with the family, but that she didn't really help him see that the way his parents were treating him was wrong and that it was not his fault. Even though she wasn't abusive to him, even though she loved him, she was too neutral. And we can understand why that might have been. Maybe she didn't have the power either to speak up. But in Pete's case, he can see that because she didn't say to him, this is not your fault, this should not be happening, that it really helped that to morph into that self-contempt, that self-loathing. And a lot of people have a very prominent and vicious inner critic because nobody ever intervened and said, this was not your fault. This is on your parents who were not able to provide for you a healthy environment. And there was an injustice there. You were treated poorly, and that is not your fault. So let's go into the inquiry. This next piece is based on Pete's experience, Pete Walker's experience. This is one of the ways that he works with this. And he has done a lot of angering on his own, and he really encourages people to do that. And in this case, he's talking about physical abuse and rage. Keep your eyes open so that you're aware that you're in the room and that you're safe right now. and feel into an experience for you. It might be something where there was physical abuse, like there was with Pete. It might be something where there was more verbal abuse or where there was an emotional lack of parenting going on. You just didn't really feel like you mattered to anybody. And what would you say? What he's saying is, if time travel is ever possible, I will travel back into the past and put a stop to my parents' abusiveness. I will call 911 and Child Protective Services. I'll grab their arms and pin them so they can't strike you. I'll muffle them with a gag so they can't scream at you. I'll send them to bed without dessert. I'll do anything you want me to do to protect you. I am an adult now and will never again let somebody hit me without physically protecting myself. We'll take a few minutes here to personalize this. If time travel was possible, I will travel back into the past. And one of the ways you might do this is to put yourself in a room with yourself and your parents or other family who would have been there. And then see your adult self walking into the room saying, no, that is not going to happen. That's abuse. You are not going to hit this child. Or you might visualize yourself sitting in a room where nobody's paying attention. You feel really alone. You can tell by looking that you're feeling a lot of distress and nobody's even noticing. And maybe you would walk into that room and directly comfort that child. Kneel down and look into their eyes. I want to know. You can count on me. You're not alone anymore. Or you might turn to the parents and say, what's the matter with you that you're not even noticing that this child, your child, is in distress? That's not okay with me. How dare you? How dare you not even pay attention to your child? How dare you hit this child? This is your child. It's up to you to create this safe environment, and you're doing that? No, that is not okay. Keep your eyes open. Keep yourself here in this moment in time. If things are getting kind of intense, you could back away a little bit. You could look around the room, notice that you're an adult now and you're safe where you are. Do some tapping on your forehead. Bring your attention away from the images and into the sound, sensation of that on your forehead. And take your time with this. What would you do? What would you say? What would you call out? What behavior would you call out? How would you protect yourself, connect with yourself at that age if you could go back? And then with a few more breaths, let that kind of go to the background. If you want to work with it some more, you could come back. You could put it on pause. And really now connect with that younger person at that time that you were thinking of and talk directly to them. I am a strong, resourced adult, and you are no longer alone. I want to know what's going on with you. I want you to tell me what's wrong. I will protect you now. Even if your parents are still in your life, they won't grab or hit you now like they did then. If they yell at you, I will tell them to stop. And you can walk away. You're not trapped in that house anymore. You can return to the safety of the home you've created. You can speak up for yourself now. You have adult resources, you have friends, you can set boundaries. If someone says something nasty to you, you can speak up and say, "No, you don't get to talk to me like that. Show some respect or I'm going to leave." Stay really present. Notice your body, your breath, your feet on the floor. Sometimes it's helpful to hold your own hands or to put your hands on your heart. Adults decide what connection they have. And if it is safe for us to have that connection, we'll maintain it on our own terms. We're an adult now. I'm an adult and I won't let you be treated like that anymore. I am brave. I'm clear minded. I'm not in denial. It's way more important that I'm here on my own side and that you know I'm always here for you. I can speak up. I can protect us now. And stay with that younger child. Look them in the eyes, hug them. Let them know and feel you are safe now. And you can stay with this part of the practice as long as you like. Return to this practice again and again. I'm a strong adult now, and I will protect you. You are safe now. I'm here. And to come out of the inquiry, sense into what it is your body needs. Take a few deep breaths. Make some noise. Let the exhale be a bit noisy if you want. And then stand up and move the energy out of your body. So do some shaking for a few minutes. Take your hands and fists above your head and then throw the energy down. Open your hands as you exhale. Throw that energy down into the ground. Do that for 3 or 4 times. Let the energy move. And then when you're ready, come out of the practice. Come back into the safety of this moment in time when you are no longer in danger and you're not alone anymore. Come back into the present.